The spark of Afghanistan ignited. Dozens of soldiers were killed in a fell swoop. Taliban moved towards Kashmir to teach Modi a lesson. Kashmir's independence guaranteed. Viewers, welcome to Vital News. I told you that the beginning of Ghazwa-e-Hind is near and no one else would knock on the door of Ghazwa-e-Hind but India. So this is exactly what Modi T has done in the Afghan war. Modi got involved with a militant Islamic force with which Russia had to surrender after years of fighting. A superpower like the United States had to kneel in front of Pakistan to avoid these militants. Indian army, which is badly defeated by Pakistan and China, is in a quite bad morale. How can these Indian warriors compete with these Islamic forces who are chanting slogans of Allah Akbar? Today's video, we will tell you what a big change is going to be in the next 48 hours. Because the Pakistan army is currently on high alert. What is the next course of action of Afghan fighters? Why has the ground slipped under the feet of Indian forces and Modi? Are Afghan Islamic militants really turning Afghanistan into a graveyard for US and NATO forces as well as Indian forces? Before I go into details, please subscribe to Vital News and press the bell icon for new video notifications. On the one hand, the United States is talking about leaving Afghanistan after 20 years. And on the other hand, the general of the same army is making noise all over the world. The world has been warned that the reorganization of terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda will be the biggest concern for Pakistan. If anyone asks these Americans if you have been present in Afghanistan with the armies of 30 countries for 20 years, have you been holding rallies or just sleeping? There are those who are saying all over the world today that if we leave Afghanistan, other terrorist organizations including ISIS and Al-Qaeda will unite. The Commander-in-Chief of US Central Command warned during a recent Pentagon briefing that the reorganization of Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorists would be the biggest threat after the US withdrawal from Afghanistan, which would re-emerge if not pressured, which will be very worrying for all the neighboring states, especially Pakistan. Now let's clarify one thing here. Pakistan has completely refused to support the United States in the Afghan-US war. That is why US President Biden is looking very enthusiastic. And now they have made Modi a scapegoat. And it seems that Modi is going to tumble before Eid. Modi has landed Indian forces in Afghanistan at the request of the United States. So they will be able to rule Kabul. But perhaps killing the Afghan fighters is not so easy. It is almost impossible. General McKenzie is responsible for all US military activity in the Pak-Afghan region. The New York Times reports that the top US military commander in the Middle East has admitted that it will be difficult to keep eye on Al-Qaeda and all the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan by September 11th this year. General McKenzie said it is the interest of all countries in the region to stabilize Afghanistan and not allow extremist groups such as Al-Qaeda and the so-called Islamic State. General McKenzie said he believes Al-Qaeda and Islamic State could reorganize in Afghanistan if pressure is not maintained after the withdrawal of US and NATO forces. The head of the Central Command added that the Taliban had also assured that they would not allow these organizations to use Afghan territory. He said that it could be expected that the Taliban would become part of the Afghan government in the future. Yes, then we will keep our promise. We do not yet know what the Afghan government will look like because the Taliban have refused to participate in the Afghan peace talks, and these talks have been temporarily stalled. During the press conference, a spokesman for the British news agency quoted General McKenzie as saying as the United States had no agreement with the Afghanistan's neighbors on military bases at the moment. The US wants to hand over Afghanistan to India, which is a big mistake of the US as well as Modi, because the Afghan fighters did not spare Ashraf Ghani. Then what are these Indian warriors? The Afghan Taliban leader has warned Modi that if you help the United States destroy peace in Afghanistan, so you will be responsible for it. Defense observers say that Modi has opened a new front against himself by teasing Afghan militants. Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa estimated that real peace would be the same across the country. Islands of peace cannot be built. The Pakistani commander said that Pakistan has done a lot for Afghan peace till date. Pakistan has carried out all kinds of operations, but now it is Modi's turn. Today, the role of Pakistan Army for peace in Afghanistan is appreciated by the world. It has always been my personal opinion that Pakistan should take the least part in the affairs of Afghanistan. We have never had a good name from Afghanistan, but it is also true that due to our international responsibilities, we cannot distance ourselves from the Afghan peace process. But balancing between the United States and the Taliban was a virtually impossible task. In the past too, we have either sat on the lap of the United States or we have sided entirely with the Taliban. But this time, General Bajwa has struck a good balance. So far, we have looked after the interests of the United States, but at the same time, we have maintained the confidence of the Taliban. This is not an easy task. Pakistan has suffered a lot in the past due to these problems of Afghanistan, but hopefully, due to the wisdom and strategy of General Bajwa, we will avoid any loss this time. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Have a great day and night. Signing off, Viral News, where our news is viral.